This program is powered by Tascam. Tascam's Mini Studio Creator US42 is your new personal production and online broadcast studio featuring a professional quality audio interface and a number of unique real-time effects. The Mini Studio Creator delivers everything you need for your podcast or webcast. Find out more at Tascam.com, part of the Gibson family of brands.
Hi, this is Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you're listening to me on the Turtle Power Podcast. Cowabunga, dude.
Live from the sewers, this is the Turtle Power Podcast.
This is your audio source for all the news, reviews, and insight into the world of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
God, I love being a turtle!
Now join your hosts, Ryan, Alex,
Awesome!
and Darby.
Bossa Nova!
Yeah? Bossa Nova?
Chevy Nova? Excellent!
Now it's time for the Turtle Power Podcast.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Turtle Power Podcast. That's right, we are back with a special episode here. Welcoming back for the third time on the show, the one and only Kevin Eastman. And he's got a special new project that he's really excited to share with everyone. So we'll get to that a little later in the show. But first, let's get into some news.
The authorities won't talk to us, but they might talk to a TV news reporter. How do I look?
Great.
General, April O'Neil, Channel 9 News. Channel 6 News.
So, what's with the getup? You a news reporter?
In another lifetime, maybe.
This is April O'Neil, Channel 6 News.
April O'Neil, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
This is April O'Neil, Channel 3 News.
So I'll be handling the news duties here by myself, and then Darby's going to be joining me for the interview with Kevin. Unfortunately, Alex was busy at a wedding, not his own, someone else's, but unfortunately he wasn't able to join us, so we'll be having him back on the show hopefully next time. So now this isn't really news, but I did want to give a shout out to all of the TMNT podcasts out there. You know, we are kind of I guess we're the old dog in the yard here. We've been around the longest, but and we certainly don't put out as much content as a lot of these other shows. So I just wanted to give a shout out to, you know, in no particular order, but the good guys over at Turtle Soup, a couple of Florida boys over there as well, the guys over at Turtle Flakes, another great show there. Turtle Power Pod, the confusing Turtle Power Pod, not Turtle Power Podcast, but Turtle Power Pod. The Ninja Turtle Power Hour, which I don't know if I've listened to them or not. There's the Booyaka Show, TurtleCom, TMNT Dare Talk, which I do mention in Kevin's interview because he had done an interview with that fine gentleman at TMNT Dare Talk, which, as you can guess, is not from America. And then a brand new podcast called TMNT Minute. And this is by the group that where they basically break down a variety of movies 1 minute at a time. So each episode covers 1 minute from that movie. And so if a movie is 180 minutes long, then there's 180 episodes that they got to work through, and it's a daily podcast. So I can't remember exactly off the top of my head how long the 1990 film is, but that's the one they're covering, and it's very entertaining listening to it. So I want to give them a shout out as well. New for iOS devices, TMNT iMessage stickers are now available in the iMessage App Store. So you can check out a link to that in the show notes, as well as all of the other links that we'll be talking about throughout the show, as always. Kevin's got a really cool story that was done on him by CBS 8 out in San Diego in preparation for the San Diego Comic-Con. Nice little video that goes with that. This is his 32nd year at San Diego Comic-Con. We bring that up in the show. And they actually have some footage of him back in the late 80s at Comic-Con. So it's pretty wild getting to see how much it's changed, and how much Kevin's changed, or how much he hasn't changed. It's interesting. So take a look at that. Another interview with Kevin by San Diego Union Tribune. It says Kevin Eastman enjoys a victory lap at Comic-Con. And then TMNT Secrets of the Sewer exhibit is open at the Reading Public Museum in Reading, Pennsylvania. So if you're up in the Northeast and you have the ability to check out this event, this museum event, go check it out. And so that's going to do it for some of our quick news bites. And we're going to go and head in. Well, we don't have any video game news this week. There's nothing going on in the video game world, but let's go into TV news. So obviously this is going to be our annual San Diego Comic-Con retrospect review. Not really review. We're not reviewing San Diego Comic-Con, but we're going to be talking about a lot of the news that's come out of this year's Comic-Con. As every year there's a lot of turtle news that comes out of San Diego Comic-Con. So, once again, Rosemary from Ninja Pizza has a lot of great coverage over. You can either check out ninjapizza.net, or you can head over to facebook.com/ninjapizza and check out all of the great posts that she's got. So for the TV panel that they showed I think it was the entire episode that Kevin wrote that's coming up here in season 5, which is basically a flashback episode to when the turtles were baby turtles. Gotta love baby turtles. And they didn't really talk about much beyond season 5 really at all. So this is kind of a last hurrah for the current iteration of the Nick Turtles. Strangely enough, there's once again there's another DVD releasing September 12th with more episodes that will be in the DVD that will have not aired yet. Once again, this happened earlier with the last DVD release. So strange. I don't know what is going on over there, but I do know that they have just officially finished their last recording session over at Nick Turtles. So they are wrapping up shop over there. So, and right now we're in the middle of the Usagi Yojimbo trilogy on Nick Turtles. I gotta say, I'm loving what they've done with this mini series, if you will, and it really feels more like a 3-episode Usagi Yojimbo animated series featuring the Ninja Turtles. I mean, that's really what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a Tales of the TMNT. But interestingly enough, if you go, if you compare to the comics, you see that a lot more often. With even in the IDW TMNT Universe series, I mean, you'll have entire issues without the turtles in them at all. So it's definitely is taking a page from that book, pun intended. And interestingly enough, this first part, the Yojimbo, is entitled Yojimbo. So it's really cool how they did it. And actually, it reminds me of something that they've done over on the Clone Wars, the Star Wars Clone Wars series, where they, even frame for frame, will basically copy influences from other movies. So in this one, Yojimbo is actually a film named Yojimbo, which translates to The Bodyguard. It's a Kurosawa film. If you don't know who Kurosawa was, he's a prolific and very influential director, Japanese director, and made a lot of Seven Samurai. Was it obviously Yojimbo, and is it Hidden Fortress? I'm pulling that off the top of my head. I can't remember if that's the exact name of it, but anyway, that's the other one. That's the big influence of Star Wars. So it all kind of wraps around in a circle here. But so part 2 just aired this past Sunday, and we should get a part 3 coming up this weekend, I hope. So as a reminder, there's 20 episodes scheduled for season 5, and we're only a few episodes in to season 5 so far. So we've got a ways to go throughout season 5, through this Tales of the TMNT season. And we've got, of course, the big 80s crossover. I think that's a trilogy as well, a 3-parter that's coming up as well, that we've been waiting for a while. So, and we can't leave TV news without once again getting our Splinter quotes of the week, Wisdom Wednesdays. Now, this was an interesting one on July 12th. It was actually a trivia. It said, Splinter's phone is in the shape of what? A turtle, pizza, hamburger, or wheel of cheese? And so you had to reply, and then you found out if you got it right or not. Well, I replied, and I got it correct. It's wheel of cheese. So I assumed they were referring to the Nick Turtles version of Splinter, which, yes, that he does have the little wheel of cheese phone. So let's see, we got some other ones here. July 19th. Where there's a will, there's a way, especially if that will is Michelangelo's desire for jelly bean jalapeno pizza. Deep. July 26th. Failure in planning is a plan for failure. This is why it is always important to have a shopping list for pizza toppings. Oh, always comes back around to pizza. And lastly, today, this is the one we got just earlier today. Even the most perfect plan cannot survive contact with the enemy or the anger of Raphael. I don't know why Splinter got to be bringing that up. I mean, Raph's got, he's passionate. I don't call it. He's passionate. It's not always anger. Well, anyway, all right, that's gonna do it for TV news. Let's get into collecting news.
From Playmates.
As always, there's a lot of collecting news that comes out of San Diego Comic-Con, and always a lot of collecting news for the Turtles coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. A couple of websites to check out: toynewseye.com, news.toyark.com, and youtube.com/pixeldan. Pixeldan's always on top of the Turtles news, especially. So I do want to give a shout out to both Pixeldan and Turtle Soup for their great coverage of all the collecting news coming out of Comic-Con. I know in years past we've gone over all the pictures and talked about every single picture of every single action figure that they've announced, but we're not going to do that this year. So we'll just go over the. I'm sure you've all seen it already anyway. So we'll just cover just the highlights here. So for Playmates, new Playmates next year, based on the new show that will be debuting next year, next fall. So the figures themselves should be debuting at New York Toy Fair in February of 2018. Of course, there was the Ghostbusters TMNT crossover action figures, and these are going to be coming out mid to late October, and they're going to be exclusive to Target. And these are in that larger scale format, similar to the WWE TMNT crossover figures. So a little bit bigger than the standard TMNT action figures that come out from Playmates. And there was also a 12-inch Usagi figure. This was really the year of Turtles and Usagi, because you had the action figure exclusive at Comic-Con. There's this 12-inch Usagi figure that's exclusive to Walmart that was announced. That's coming August 7th, so just around the corner here. And then the comic book written by the great Stan Sakai, so that came out I think that weekend or that week maybe. And then obviously the animated series, which we were just referring to. So this was definitely the Usagi Yojimbo Turtles Comic-Con year. So on the NECA front, a lot of, it's interesting, NECA made those TMNT Mirage figures a while back, and like they just were so popular and so the supply could not meet the demand, and it's just interesting to see where we're at now, where NECA has got they've been able to figure out ways, because of all the licensing issues with Playmates and everything, where they've wanted to make more action figures, and they've now been able to basically figure out ways to do it. And it's through these events and basically making special versions of figures that Playmates don't have the rights for. So once again, Pixel Dan had a great interview with Randy Falk from NECA, and we got a link to that in the show notes. But the main topics are a quarter scale. The quarter scale series is going to be continuing. Now, this is the quarter scale versions that are on sale. You can find them; they're out in the wild at Toys R Us. I know. The only one that hasn't been released of the Turtles so far is Mikey. Leo, Donna, and Raph are out there. You're looking at around $100 for each of these, of course, based on the 1990 film. Mikey is on his way, coming later this year, but they've also announced that there's going to be an accessories pack, which is going to include the baby turtles. Once again, baby turtles. Little pizza box. Mike's hand, a replacement for Mike's hand with the spinning nunchucks. There's also going to be continuing again in that quarter scale is Raph in the trench coat from the 90 film. Yes, with Jose Canseco bat. And there's also going to be a Shredder and Foot Clan coming, action figures coming in 2018. So that Raph and trench coat, I think, is coming later 2017. So very excited that this is continuing. These are top quality figures. I mean, we've talked in the past about how some of these figures, miniature statues, some of the prices of these things for what you're getting are just astronomical. And you look at a situation like this with NECA, where they make such high quality products at prices that are definitely reasonable, and just very very happy to see that. So in addition to the quarter scale, they're also going to be doing some prop replicas. They've got a Casey Jones mask that's going to be coming out, as well as a mutagen canister. And then there's also going to be a 4-figure Dimension X set. And they've announced that, again, these are going to be based on the video game versions of these characters. So they announced Slash, General Trag, Granitor, and the fourth one is not announced yet. But I think they said this was the first ever Granitor I think they said this was the first time Granitor has ever been made into an action figure. So, they have that kind of pixelated paint job on them, like the Turtles did last year for Comic-Con. So, they look fantastic, and great job to the folks over there at NECA for just really nailing it on all these products. So leaving San Diego Comic-Con, I just wanted to touch on a couple other little things. So I was watching a mint in box 1990 Technodrome, the original Technodrome, from the original action figure line from Playmates, and factory sealed. And this was coming from Mirage Studios. So if you don't know, the original Mirage Studios, still owned by Peter Laird, has basically been emptying out all their storage for years now, and just kind of slowly putting stuff up on eBay. And this was one of those items. Final winning bid, $2,050. Oh, that was a tough one. Not tough due to the fact that, like, oh, maybe I should get it, maybe I shouldn't. It's just tough to understand that was a really hard to find vehicle, if you want to call it a vehicle, playset, when we were young. And now it's not only hard to find, but it's also going to cost you an arm and a leg. So that was just kind of disappointing to see, but I guess maybe not so surprised. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is a brand new Kickstarter, not to be confused with another Kickstarter, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But this is going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figure encyclopedia, the first TMNT action figure book, a coffee table book of TMNT figures, vehicles, and accessories from 1988 all the way to 2017. And there's a Kickstarter for this project, and I believe it's up and running right now. So see if I take a look at it. I think Rich over at the TMNT Ninja Turtles blog, yes, it is up and running right now. Yeah, I think this is where I saw it from, was from him. But they're looking for $58,000 is the goal. They're already up to 19.5. So and they've still got 33 days to go. So take a look. It looks, I mean, the samples they've got are very high quality. They're going to have a glossary. I mean, some great photos in there. So definitely take a look at this. And this might be the closest I'm going to get to owning a to owning a 1990 Technodrome. But alas, it's okay. We got a baby now. Baby will get toys. Ooh, maybe I buy the Technodrome and say it's for the baby. What do you think? Can I pull that off? Yeah, no, it ain't gonna work. All right, so let's get out of collecting news and head into the very exciting comics news.
I strike two on my way down. Donatello takes out a third with his staff. Already the pudgy ones are starting to panic. Raph loves this stuff. He's not alone.
Why is he narrating? Is he crazy?
Hardcore crazy. I love these guys!
So, for comics news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, it's funny, because if you listen to the show, I wasn't a super big fan of this first volume, but it's okay. I'm. It's not like I'm disappointed that they're making a volume 2, but it's just an interesting choice personally. But Ghostbusters crossover volume 2, number 1 is hitting stores Wednesday, November 1st, 2017. So obviously the sales were there for volume 1, And at the end of the day, that's really what matters. So so that's going to be coming out. So there's, I guess, maybe Ghostbusters TMNT crossovers were battling against TMNT Usagi Yojimbo crossovers over at Comic-Con. So it's all good. It's all good. So if you're looking forward to that, November 1st. And we got a link to that over at comicbookresources.com, cbr.com. IDW Dimension X Weekly it's actually started. It came out today, number 1, and wanted to give a special shout out to this because amazing cover art by recent guest on the show, Nick Pitara, and writing by Paul Aller, and interior art by Pablo Tunica. I hope I'm saying Pablo's name right. Tunica. I'm definitely looking forward to this little mini series because it's been a little bit since we've had one of these little. This is, I guess, reminiscent to Bebop and Rocksteady Destroy Everything. It's probably the last time we had one of these little side pieces, and I think Nick did the artwork for those covers too, so it works out. With all this Usagi Yojimbo TMNT news that's been coming out, I thought it would be helpful for all us TMNT fans to have a little reading guide for if you're interested in going back and checking out more Usagi material. So the Usagi Yojimbo are currently published by Dark Horse, and so we've got a link in the show notes, which basically has all the trade paperbacks that you can check out and catch up with all the Usagi stories. So and surprisingly, it's really not that much as far as collected works. Like there's a lot of individual issues, but rather than collecting every single individual issue, they've got some great collected pieces that really get everything, and including the old Usagi Turtles crossover stories. So those are all there. So there's a nice article of Stan reuniting Usagi and the Turtles. There's a nice article about that in the show notes. Want to mention this TMNT Inside Out Director's Cut hardcover. This is going to be collecting the Inside Out story from TMNT Universe issues 1 through 5 from IDW. This is the little story in the back of the issues. That was basically, it was one story that was split over the 5 issues. And and Kevin did this whole piece here. So this special hardcover release of this short story is going to be featuring unseen layouts and design art. It's going to be available October 18th, 2017. And speaking of Kevin, one of his, I think this came out maybe like 92, 90, maybe 90, 91, 92, 93. This is one of his side projects from back then, and this was called Ronin Bebop. And let's see here, it just says early 90s. That's all it says on the press release. But so I'll read the description here. But it is made by a lot of the old Turtles guys, Simon Beasley, Eric Talbot, and Tom Scullin. A madcap collection featuring zombies, superheroes, aliens, murderers, mutant animals, sounds familiar, and more in these rarely seen stories. 6 tales of insanity from the twisted minds of Kevin Eastman, Simon Bisley, Eric Talbot, and Tom Scullin get their chance to shine. Reprinting a combination of full color and black and white stories from small print run independent publishing efforts of the early 90s. And this is going to be distributed by IDW. So This is going to be coming out November 29th, 2017. So for some retro comics goodness, check that out. Comics release schedule, as always, I just mentioned Rich earlier, TMNT-NinjaTurtles.com. He's always got the most up-to-date release dates for everything TMNT Comics. So really quickly, as always, we'll go over the highlights here. IDW Series 73 releasing as I'm recording this portion right now, today, August 2nd. Is now the longest running TMNT comic book series in history. And Rich actually helped with getting a special cover for this issue. I think I'm caught up to 71. I think is where I'm at in the series. I gotta get 72. I didn't get a chance to. If you haven't had a kid yet, you have no idea. For all of the dads out there and the moms that are listening, you guys know it's it's hard to keep up with things. TMNT Universe issue 13 is releasing August 23rd. As we mentioned just a second ago, TMNT Dimension X 5-issue weekly series number 1 is released August 2nd. TMNT Usagi Yojimbo one-shot has been released. Now, I'm a little confused. I know it's out digitally. The hardcover is supposed to be out, but I ordered it on Amazon, and it's saying it's not going to be available till September 19th. So I'm not sure what the exact status is of that, but mine's pre-ordered, so I'm getting ready to check that out as soon as that arrives. On the IDW Adventures front, last episode we talked about Robot Animals. That's the new mini-series they're doing over on the Amazing Adventures side. Robot Animals number 2 is out now. Number 3 is going to be releasing September 13th. On the Mirage side, we had previously talked about the Eastman and Laird's Mirage Studios covers hardcover, which is basically a collection of all of the covers from the Mirage series. That's now been delayed without a new release date, so stay tuned, and we'll keep you up to date on that one, because I'm looking forward to that personally. Tales of the TMNT Volume 8 is out now. That collects Mirage Tales of the TMNT Volume 2, issues 22 through 25. Volume 9, which is going to be collecting issues 26 through 30, has been delayed as well. No release date on that one either, so stay tuned on that one as well. On the Archie front, TMNT Adventures Volume 14 trade paperback, which collects TMNT Archie Adventures issues 58 through 61, is still slated for a November 22nd release. Now the second longest running TMNT series. So that is going to be it for comics news. Let's get into a very brief mention into some movie news.
Yeah, 122 and an 8. 122 and an 8. Terrific. Where the heck is 122 and an 8?
You're standing on it, dude.
So I mentioned at the beginning of the show all of the TMNT podcasts, at least all of them that I could find, and including the newest one, the TMNT Minute. And as I mentioned, they are going through that amazing 1990 film. And they brought up a couple of things at the very beginning, which was the FHE intro little sound effect. And man, that brought back some memories hearing that. So let's see if I can't bring it up here. That's right, Family Home Entertainment. Man, that brought me back when I heard that. So they brought up that, and they also brought up this TMNT so this is only from the VHS, right? So that was from the VHS, and then this commercial was from that 1990 film VHS. It was a Pizza Hut commercial with a kid who's basically playing baseball, and he's out in the outfield, and he's really bored, and the ball gets hit to him, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on? I have no idea what's happening." And then he kind of looks up, and he sees there's a ball coming, and he just kind of closes his eyes and lifts his glove up in the air, and he catches it. And so then the crowd goes wild, his teammates go wild, and so he saves the game, and they all go to play Pizza Hut and celebrate afterwards. He's like, "Yeah, I totally knew what I was doing, dude. I just was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that ball, and you know what? I got that ball." So, I don't know what. I never really put it together, but I don't know what that's kind of teaching kids. It's basically like, yeah, so if you have, kind of ADD, and you're just kind of out there and not really doing much, not really paying attention in life, and an opportunity to do something great comes your way, you just close your eyes. It'll be fine. It'll be all good. You don't even really have to try. Everything will work out. Just like perfectly. You'll be the hero just because, just because. Right? I think that's the story. I think that's what I got out of that. So, but anyway, nonetheless, it was funny seeing that commercial. I had not seen that in a very, very long time. So, with that, let's get into our very, very special interview for the third time. It's still special, even no matter. We could have this guy on every episode, and it would be an amazing piece of audio every single time, because he is just so. I mean, what can you say about him? It's Kevin Eastman.
Who the heck is that? Wayne Gretzky? On steroids? Attack!
Once again, joining us on the Turtle Power Podcast, third time, just like our friends over at Turtle Flakes. Kevin, you're getting really good at this podcasting thing.
Well, considering my iPhone still runs on steam power or coal or something, it's like the technology is still something I'm desperately trying to catch up on. So I appreciate the tolerance and you guys having me back on.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Kevin, you just returned from your, did I get this right? Your 32nd San Diego Comic-Con?
You first let me adjust my depends. Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
No, I love that. When I first went to Comic-Con, Peter and I, our first Comic-Con was 1985. And, it's just been so wonderful, not only, seeing how much it's grown and how much it's changed, but it really is reflective of, our industry in many ways where, one part of me misses the old days where it's more like a comic book flea market kind of thing, and there's lots of artists. I mean, you can see Frank Miller's and Jack Kirby's and people like that walking around. Well, you can still see a lot of those celebrity guys, but it's different. It's more like this pop culture celebration that I remember bringing somebody, a couple of years ago to their first Comic-Con, and they just said, "My goodness, this is like the happiest place on earth. Everybody here is just happy to be here amongst friends that sharing similar interests, and it's a treat." And this was an exceptionally fun one because we not only got to see, I get to hang out specifically with my old buddy Stan Sakai. He's just the loveliest. He's just the coolest guy, and we get to premiere his new Ninja Turtle Usagi crossover with IDW. We also get to premiere and give the fans a sneak peek at the Usagi Yojimbo Turtles crossover in the animated show, which is fantastic.
The first part came out last weekend. It was very good, very, very good. It was even cool, the flashback, how it was his art from the Usagi comics. That was awesome. Nice touch.
Yeah, well done. They're Nickelodeon is just they're just a pleasure to work with. They really, they have such great care, and they're really respectful. They respectful of the Turtles. They really love and embrace the Turtles, and making, bringing Usagi back into the Turtles universe after all these years was really a dream come true for Ciro Neely and Nickelodeon, and certainly myself as well. So, what a treat!
Yeah, and I know there's some changes coming in the future for the Nickelodeon Turtles, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing those. But speaking of announcements, Darby, you want to take the next question?
Oh, yeah, Kevin, I've been following you a lot on Facebook lately, and you've been posting a lot of stuff about, this Kickstarter campaign you've got with Drawing Blood. What is that about? I mean, I've read it, and it seems about a comic. It's like the story of being a comic book artist with all these other great touches. And it launches soon, and I think on the 1st in a couple days. So what's that all about?
Yeah, we wanted to do. I've been really inspired by Kickstarter over the last bunch of years. I love seeing the comic book properties, and we supported quite a few of them. I feel like it just reminded me, from the earliest days of Peter and I with the Ninja Turtles, is that we did our own Kickstarter, but it was mostly with family and friends,
right?
Money. But I love the purity and the simplicity and the independent nature of these creators that wanted to have a complete vision, a unique vision that wasn't something that had to be changed or tweaked to some different publisher's level of what their idea should be. And with Drawing Blood, it just felt like kind of going back to my roots, and I had this idea probably about 10 years ago. I started making notes on this concept of having a character that existed in the world of comic books, because I don't really see it from the creator side, if you will. I've never seen a comic of this type. And I started working with David Maloney, developing some other ideas, and we sort of told him about what I wanted to do with this comic character. He quickly came up with the title of Drawing Blood, and what we wanted to do was base this story, the characters, the adventures of Shane Bookman, that had a little bit of me in there, maybe 10%, but more importantly, going back from stories that I've read about, Wally Wood and Will Eisner and Jack Kirby and the different trials and tribulations, the successes and the non-successes that they had, the difficult times, especially Wally Wood, through my personal interactions as friends with a lot of the Image guys and Alan Moore's and Frank Miller's, and there's so many great stories that even aren't completely told in the pages of Comics Journal, if you will. But I feel there was a way to come up with sort of this completely fictional, true story of a character that had success way too young, went crazy, and much like you might see a rock star or a sports star. There's stuff happens way too young, and you have to go through a lot of paces and a lot of craziness to then try to remember what got you into this business in the first place, which is the passion for drawing comics or playing music or sports. And so we sort of cobbled this idea of all things comic, all different kinds of stories, all into this structural, this semi-foundation that resembles the rise of the Turtles, but it's not the Turtles. I even exist in the world of Drawing Blood, of course. All things comics exist in that world, and it's if you had to sort of break it down into a few components, it could be a dash of Breaking Bad, a dash of Spinal Tap, a dash of one of my favorite movies, Amadeus, little Sin City, little Comic Book Confidential. And we sort of put this guy through his paces, and that was, much like how you'd approach anything, trying to come up with a good story with engaging characters that you can sort of twist and turn and put through some pretty interesting, fantastical stories. That was our dream with this concept, Drawing Blood. And
I know you've got a few collaborators on this. Shane Bookman, I think, is one of them, and is that right? Or I saw that. You and him were trading some pretty funny tweets over the over the Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah. So. Well, Shane is, again, this legend of Shane Bookman, he really is, he's a fictional, we say it's a completely true story about a fictional character. And so we've created this, the scenario where Shane is a real character. He, in 1992, him and his brother Paul put out a comic book, the radically rearranged Ronin Ragdolls. And
I see what's going on here.
Yeah, so they had great success for great success for about a decade, and then the creators imploded. One, sort of retired. The other one just went crazy. And,
Which one are you, Kevin?
I always, when I point to like some of the teaser art we sent to you, is like that panel where Shane's in a gunfight. I've never been in a gunfight, and hopefully never will.
I was going to say,
but that's the fun of creating something, because people can look at it and go, "Hey, is that you?" And it's like, man, if I did half the stuff we're going to do to this guy in this series, I wouldn't be here today. But that's the fun of creating a character that has, whether it's Indiana Jones or Jason Bourne, it's a completely fictional, true character that you put in some real life circumstances. That's makes it so much fun, and the right level of comedy, the right level of drama. Suspense and heartbreak. It's going to be a fun story. So David Avalone and I are officially the co-creators. The awesome and incredible Ben Bishop, an old friend of mine from Maine, is going to be the main series artist. I'll be doing pages, the flashbacks and pages in probably, if you're looking at individual issues, I'd be doing a couple pages of flashbacks and moments in the ongoing series. We've got the incredible Troy Little, who's going to be doing the adaptation of the radically rearranged Ronin Ragdolls over my layouts, and it's going to be a lot of twisted fun, all set in the world of art, all set in our world, the world of comics.
It's interesting because obviously, as a comics producer, you've got to have a multitude of skills, not just the art, but also the storytelling. And it's interesting because obviously you've proven you're able to do all of them. But at least on the IDW, and it sounds like on this one as well, you've been focusing more on the writing, on the story, and then just kind of doing just kind of layouts. Is that right?
Yeah, in this case, it's been, Ben certainly doesn't need my help with the layouts, but it's been, my position in comics these days, besides, the years of, being a publisher of heavy metal, all the stories that I've, written and then laid out and done with Simon Bisley to, I look at, drawing blood in some capacity, similar to my job at IDW with the new ongoing Turtle series, is I get to work, I get to work with the incredible Tom Waltz, who's the head writer and does such a fantastic job. But, Tom and Bobby and I, Bobby Kernall, the series editor, we'll sit and we'll plot out the story. So we basically come up with the stories together. Tom will do the finished scripts. And then I'll do covers and some of the backup stories, or like I did with Sienkiewicz on the Turtles universe. But then I'll do a complete story on my own. Like I've done a couple graphic novels, and I've got another one I'm working on that a Turtles graphic novel I hope will come out next year. But with Drawing Blood, it's a similar approach that I'm involved in every step of the way, but I get to work with some really fantastic collaborators and creators that will help bring this to life. As well as they can. I mean, my goodness, you look at the Turtle comic series, and it's like the story is a critical and important component, but then you throw in Mateus Santucolo or Corey Smith or Dan. Holy smokes, I love those guys so much, and I also hate them because they all draw better than I do.
They make it look easy. They do. It's very true, but I think it's true across multiple different multimedia genres that the story has to be there, though. If you can have a lot of pretty pictures, but if there's no story to back it up, then it all kind of falls apart. So kudos to you and Tom and to Bobby, because I know we're not the only ones to say this. This has been the best Turtle series ever. It's absolutely fantastic.
Well, I can't express to you enough how much that means to us, because we really, we feel like we're all on the same side of the fence, if you will. I mean, us and you, in that when we sit down and plot out these things and the stories that we write, we like write them for us first, and then, I just think, if you can keep the heart and soul in there and keep everything, in perspective, hopefully that will, have the fans join us, and your support for. I mean, I think we just finished over San Diego issue 75, which is I think that's 73 is just coming out now in August, and then. But yeah, we have ideas, pretty solid ideas of where we're taking it. Every issue straight through issue 100 in 2019, and having way too much fun. We just really having a great time.
That's awesome.
Nice. Hey, Kevin, you were talking about all these other projects you have, and we've had fans send us a few questions on Twitter that they want us to ask you. And Jake Redding, at G_Redding, sent us a question that I thought was pretty interesting. Speaking of projects, he asked, have you thought about writing a story for a TMNT video game?
Oh, I'd love to. I really like that. I love the one that Tom did for the most recent, IDW, the video game based on the Turtles IDW universe. But to me, it's like, I think why I would love to even more now than ever is that back when, Peter and I were doing it on the early Nintendo games and those systems, there wasn't a story, but just the action. And I just love the complexity and the level of storytelling and the things that you can do in a video game today. So that's something I would dearly love to do. In fact, to take it one step further, and I've addressed this question at a lot of conventions that Courtney and I do over each year, is that if there were to be another movie produced on the Turtles, I would love to see it be an animated movie. I'd love to see it be based on the IDW Turtle universe, because I think that would give it the right attitude, the right edge, and the right feel that I think could really resonate as a great movie.
Absolutely. I could not disagree, or I could not agree more. I mean, I heard you. You did that interview with it's the German Turtles podcast. I'm not even going to try to do German, but I remember I heard you say that on there, and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like the best thing ever. So,
we get the best of both worlds. We can do a movie based on the IDW Turtles and do a video game to go with it.
Oh, there it is.
That would be fantastic.
There it is. We were talking about writing a little bit ago, and it was something that we talk about here a lot is on the show is like kind of like a character study, where we've got there was this I think it was season 1 of the Nick series. The A Team versus the B Team, where Leo and Raph teamed up, and then Mikey and Don teamed up, and they really kind of explored this a bit, where Leo and Raph are a bit more of the extroverts, and Mike and Don are maybe more of the introverts at times. Of course, Mikey can be a little crazy, but I think amongst the group, amongst the the 4 of them, he's a bit of more of the kind of chill, laid back one. So I think that works well with Greg Sipes as well. So, but I don't know. Is that something that developed over time, or is that something that you and Peter kind of wanted to address, like at the very beginning, as far as what are these, how all these personalities, how they all mix together?
Well, it's a great question, and it's true. It's because putting into perspective that Pete and I grew up on the Avengers and X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and so many comics that it was it's that group dynamic where there's always going to be different opinions, different attitudes, different abilities. You have to have I feel like a bit of conflict, because you will, whether it's people you work with or your own family, but it also always seemed that we love that dynamic, that you can have differences of opinion and have issues with each other, but when something comes in from outside that threatens the family, then you all bond together as a family and deal with it. So it's always been, you look at like some of my favorite, the early issues of the Mirage issues, right up to I guess one of the highlights was the Return to New York series that Peter and I did. That was like having that conflict and having those issues, and then as a family figuring out how to resolve them. To me, just this creates a really dynamic story, and something you want to tell as keeps the heart and soul, and puts the characters through the paces.
Yeah, something that we get from pretty much everyone that we talk to is as far as what they say is the most underrated aspect, or maybe underappreciated aspect of the Turtles by the general population is the family aspect, and that how pivotal that is with the Turtles. So it's there, and it always has been, and it's something that I think all Turtle fans really appreciate.
Yeah, that was really, that's why I love working with. I mean, Tom identified that, that's what he loved about the stories in the first place, and that, I officially call Tom, one of the Turtles' stepdads for sure. But he really embraces that idea, and that's why he's such a wonderful storyteller. He really cares about the characters and wants you to care, and you guys do. I know, of course, but wants to make it work.
Right. Hey, Kevin, so another one of our listener questions. I actually work out here in Colorado at sports radio, so I'm a big sports guy. And one of our questions a listener sent us, if you could answer this once and for all, because he lives in New York City and he came from New York, a guy named Jin Rummy. And he wants to know, once and for all, are the Turtles Mets or Yankees fans?
Oh, you can't put that on me. That's hard. It's like, because I'm from New England. I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm gonna pick Red Sox. But what we could do, and I could answer like a politician, that you could have the split between maybe it's Leo and Ralph that like the Yankees, and Don and Mike like the Mets.
I could see that.
I could see Raph more as a Mets fan. More blue collar, more angry, more angry.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. I do want to leave off with one last question. So I'm a new dad. Our third host, Alex, is unable to join us, but he's about to be a dad for the first time, and I'm sure Darby has a kid out there somewhere he hasn't met yet. So. Harsh.
He's probably right.
And I know you're a dad, and so do you have any advice for dads on how to introduce TMNT to their kids, and maybe what version of the Turtles, or maybe what age, or maybe how you? I mean, I'm sure your situation was a little different with introducing your kids to the Turtles. So, just any recommendations you have for new dads out there.
Sure. Well, the first thing is congratulations to you guys, and even Darby's unknown child. No, congratulations on becoming a dad. I mean, that's one of the proudest moments in my life, certainly for Courtney and I, having our son Shane just turned 11 at Comic-Con. He was born July 21st, 11 years ago, right in the middle of Comic-Con. So, perfect.
Oh, yeah. That's a good way to celebrate.
And it's funny because just reflecting for a second, when he was younger, maybe 5 or 6, he actually didn't think I had a real job because he would see other parents, going to work and his friends, but he's like, as far as he was concerned, I just stayed home and drew cartoons all day. But for new parents, what I found, just because we're so lucky, we Courtney and I do about 12 to 15 shows a year, depending, and we see this, we've steadily seen, obviously, since the introduction of the Nickelodeon series, this generational thing come about.
Oh yeah.
And, the original fans from the first series, and now their young ones are 3, 4, 5, and just discovering the Turtles to me, which was absolutely mind-blowing. But a lot of them, I asked them, how did they discover it? Because I always go back to the way I was when I was a kid. It's like, nobody told me kind of what was cool, especially a parent. I mean, kids decide what they think is cool and what they want to watch and what they don't want to watch, because that's just the way it is. But it seemed to me that most of especially the younger ones, discovered the original late 80s, early 90s cartoon first, and evolved from there because it was more bright, colorful, and a little bit more lighthearted. The Nickelodeon series, to me, which I dearly love, to me really addresses and goes for that split audience where they want the in-jokes, they want those characters, the Rat Kings and the Renettes and the different characters that the original fans love, but there's still the new characters and the zany element, the comedy elements like Ice Cream Kitty and Michelangelo and the pizza and all that stuff for the younger audience. But it seems to be a transition of the late 80s, early 90s cartoon first, segueing into the new Nickelodeon series, and that to me, if I had to make a recommendation, that might be the way to go. Because even you guys might have discovered them originally through the cartoon series before discovering even perhaps the Mirage comic series, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's I think a great recommendation. At Darby and I, we both started with the '87 animated series, which is 30 years this December, I believe. So unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're all getting older. Kevin, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on once again, and we'll be sure to send the word out on the Kickstarter, and we'll definitely have a couple of Kickstarters here to help out. So best of luck to you, and we will hopefully be talking to you again real soon.
I hope so too. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure talking to you guys. I really enjoy it. Thanks for talking about all things Turtle, especially the post Comic-Con stuff. That's a whole lot of fun. And yeah, I really appreciate giving us a shout out for the Drawing Blood Kickstarter. If anybody wants, they can go to Kevin Eastman Studios, for all things Turtles, and especially new projects like Drawing Blood. But it's just great great place to find out where I'm going to be. I've got a couple, I think 6 more shows coming up this year, so people can catch me out there, out in the world, and we can talk more. And again, can't thank you enough for your support.
All those action figures, man. There's a lot of action figures you got there.
Yeah, we got a lot, man.
But that's really cool with the bubble and everything. So, all right. Well, thanks again, Kevin. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Have a good rest of your Saturday, guys.
Yep,
Thanks.
You too.
You too.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks, Kevin. See you next week.
I hope Alex's phone was just going nuts with all the texts we were sending to each other. While he's sitting there in the wedding, his phone keeps going off. That'd be fantastic.
Being sad.
Oh, did you see Tiger Claw tweeted us while we were talking to Kevin? Did you see that?
No, I did not. Did
he said you guys are recording the podcast this week? ? Hope you guys talk about the episode with Usagi.
Oh.
And it's like, well, I mean, we didn't because we mentioned it. Kevin did for a second, but
it's only a first part.
Yeah,
it was a 2P continued episode, so.
No,
but
I don't have Hulu.
I mean, it was really an episode of the Usagi Yojimbo show featuring the Turtles. Is really what it was. It wasn't a Turtles episode. It was a Usagi Yojimbo episode. Yeah, and then that featured the Ninja Turtles. They all of a sudden popped up in the middle of the episode. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was a little different. So.
But yeah, I'd like to get more nerdy questions in for them.
Yeah. Can never have time for all the questions.
Yeah.
But that was good. We got a bunch in. We got 2 listener questions in. That's good.
No, we got we got 2, and then you asked him for parenting advice, which I thought was funny.
Well, yeah, I try to get him stuff that he doesn't always get. I feel like most of the time when I hear him in interviews, he gets the same damn questions every time. So give him a little throw a curveball at him. Yeah. Make him think a little bit.
Well, that's why when he was like, yeah, we had, in our story, we have 2 creators and one sort of retires and the other one stays on and goes crazy. That's why I was like, oh, which one are you, Kevin?
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, I didn't mean to. I had to be like, oh, Kevin, I wonder which one's supposed to be.
There's definitely a wink and a nod that he is the inspiration for this. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not it's not a secret, It's loosely based on his life, so.
Right. God.
But,
wonder what he's like. Part of me just wonders, hey, Kevin, I work in not social. It's I work in producing and stuff like that. Any entry level jobs at IDW, maybe? I don't know.
Well, he can always put in a good word for you, but the person you'd probably want to talk to is Bobby.
Bobby Curnow.
Yeah. Because he's the editor.
Yeah, I know. We've had him on the show.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Yeah,
we got to get him back.
He gave
we
us
need to get Tom.
spoiler.
We need to get Tom on the show. Yeah, he did. Yeah, Bobby did break some news on the show, so that was fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, we need to get.
Wait,
Tom.
Gotta get Tom.
We need to get Tom on the show. The
Tom?
third
Tom.
of the triad of the IDW series. So.
Oh, okay.
Tom Waltz.
God, it'd be great if Kevin could come out to Denver for their Comic-Con. I mean, that already happened a couple weeks ago, but God, if Kevin could just come out here for that, it's not like it's that far from San Diego.
No. He does travel every year. He goes, he puts up a itinerary of all the cons he's going to, but yeah, he hasn't come to Florida in a long time, so.
Right.
I'm hoping one of these days I'm going to get out to LA to go to SpaceX, and then I think I'm going to try to make a trip down, because without traffic it can be like 2.5 hours. But so I've already been to ULA. I'm going to Orbital ATK in 2 weeks, and then SpaceX will be the last one. So
I mean, well, yeah, Comic-Con's already over. It looks like his next stop is Texas, and then he goes to Hawaii, and he's all over the place. He goes Texas, Hawaii, Massachusetts, California.
Yeah, he goes all over.
And then Honduras. And then Honduras.
Yeah, he goes all over the world. So, thank you always to the one and only Kevin Eastman for joining us on the Turtle Power Podcast, and you can check out that Kickstarter right now, Drawing Blood, Volume 1. It is up and live right now. It is doing fantastic already. They are just about halfway to their goal already. The goal is 75,000. They are at 34,000 right now, with 424 backers. Still 28 days to go. It's basically the entire month of August, so check it out right now. And there is an early bird option on here, actually, so I'm probably going to pick up that one. It's available right now, and I'm going to probably order that as soon as I'm done recording this. So, and thanks as always to Courtney Eastman, the one and only Courtney Eastman, for helping to set up everything as always. She's such a great help for us and for the entire podcasting community. So thank you to both of them, and we look forward to the next time. And that's going to be it for this episode of the Turtle Power Podcast. Closing out, well, you can pretty much say as always. It's because it's been a while since we've had another audio piece, but man, we are running out, so we better figure out something. It's going to be track 7 off of disc 2, shellshocked.ocremix.org, Super Shredder Shelldown, arranged by Do a Barrel Roll, which is Zero Nimbus, Axe Deadeye, Rado, Professor Sequoia, Elise, and Danny Kong. And the source, I love those names. The source is Technodrome, the final Shell Shock, Stage 10 background music. Oh, so good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us once again. We'll talk to you next time.
yet.
Just save yourself the trouble, Shredder.
That's right.
It's all over.
Yeah. You'll have to get through us first, pal.
Yeah.
A pleasure. Fools.
It's a super Shredder. Come on, Leo.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it, eh?
Radio. Whoa. Whoa. I got it.
Hey guys, make sure to check us out on our official website, www.TurtlePowerPodcast.com.
Also, follow us on Twitter at TMNT Podcast.
You can follow me, Ryan, at FigDonPat.
Follow me, Alex, at arodriguez2005.
Follow me, Darby, at Darby T. Patton.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/TurtlePowerPodcast.
Make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/TurtlePowerPodcast.
And also share your feedback with us via old-fashioned email, turtlepowerpodcast@gmail.com.
Subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
And don't forget to subscribe and listen on Stitcher.